All right, we'll be back from that break. We're still discussing matters to do with business registration, and you get to realize why it is important and what are the benefits that you can actually obtain as a result of registering your business. Now, as we are winding this up, the last 30 minutes, we want to take a look at quite some other components within the URSB, some of the matters that you may not really know as a business person and as a person that is planning to own a business. So I'm still with Rachel Kamsime, a Registration Officer, Business Directorate, URSB, and she's going to be highlighting us further regarding this. So Rachel, as we are now winding this up, what are some of those other services that entrepreneurs need to know about business registration that you offer?
Okay, thank you so much. At URSB, we have a very wide mandate.
Yeah.
Quite wide mandate. Apart from registering those incorporating businesses and companies, we do register documents, such as if you have a mistake in your name, Barije, G was missed out.
Missed out, yeah.
Yes. NIRA normally sends you back to URSB to swear a statutory declaration.
Okay.
Showing the inconsistencies and the fact that you're ironing out
mistakes.
So we do register those statutory declarations. If you're changing your name from Barije, maybe from Barije to Niwagaba, you can still do that by swearing a deed poll after you go to the Uganda Gazette, because it is a paper of wide circulation, and thereafter you'll be able to notify the public that you're changing your names, and thereafter you start using new names. We also do register charges. For example, entities, companies which have to obtain bank loans, they do register what we call mortgages.
Mortgages, yeah.
So we do register all those documents at URSB. We have another arm called the Civil Registry.
Civil Registry.
Under the Civil Registry, we do wed couples. If you're over 18 and above, and you've gotten consent from your parents or your guardians, we go ahead and you will wed that particular couple before a registrar of marriages.
Okay.
It ought not to happen at the registrar of marriages. You can go to any gazetted place.
Gazetted place.
Holding marriages at the beach, provided it's licensed. Weddings at for example, the hotels. You can choose any ceremony
yes,
you want for your wedding to be officiated by a registrar of marriages.
Okay.
So people are killing those stereotypes of I'm supposed to be wedded in church. This wedding is also recognized by the laws of Uganda, and it's called a civil marriage.
Okay.
It's like a monogamous marriage. It is like a church marriage. This is a purely a monogamous marriage. And the only way to break it is going to the courts of law through divorce. But I also wanted to emphasize that we also license churches. Do you know that?
You license?
Yes.
I heard about churches that are supposed to actually churches to wed.
Yes.
They're supposed to be licensed.
There are churches that are not licensed.
But they are wedding.
And they are officiating marriages.
Marriages.
And that means that those marriages are null and void. They are illegal. They are non-existent. So please, if you're going to wed your loved one, come to URSB and ensure that that particular church is gazetted, it's licensed, because it's URSB that issues the license, so that that particular church can officiate marriage. So we've seen people time and again, they are crying because their marriages in the first place are not recognized by the laws of Uganda. And yet they were wedded in churches. Those churches have to furnish us with annual returns annually. I'm not talking about annual returns of a company or entities. These are annual returns from churches.
They are considered non-NGOs, non-profit organizations?
Yes, they are non-profit organizations. For example, if I'm of course wedded from St. Francis. So St. Francis is supposed to furnish URSB with my certificate, showing that day I was wedded, showing the person who wedded me, showing the reverend who officiated the marriage. So those are the annual. It's just a status of the certificate of marriage.
Okay.
Yes. So if they do not furnish us with those annual returns, there are penalties still.
Annual returns.
Annual returns.
Now that brings me to a conversation of non-profit organizations. Because I'm trying to imagine returns from an organization that is not making the profits. Why is it necessary for it to really give back returns? Okay, maybe when it comes to the measure that they give out, could it be the one that differs?
Your question actually could fall under, NGOs fall under still companies.
They're still under companies?
Yes. Those are called companies limited by guarantee, non-profit organizations. And these NGOs are normally given permits by the NGO board or the NGO bureau. It's not your recipe for us. We just issue with a certificate. Then you go and register yourself as an NGO with the NGO bureau. So an NGO is still supposed to furnish us with annual returns. But for it pays 30,000 annually.
Not 50?
Yes.
Okay.
For a company that is in business, that is profit making, it pays 50. But for an NGO, it pays 30,000. I want to emphasize the motive of filing an annual return. It's not for us to get money from you.
Okay.
It is for checks and balances. We are checking, is this company alive or it died? Because most companies die after being incorporated, after a year.
And they are dead, and they are still recognized in the system.
Yes, they are still recognized. So the Register of Companies wants to know, is this company still alive and kicking or it died? And we have over millions of companies on our register. We cannot follow up.
Okay.
We are about 10 registrars actually in Kampala. So how will 10 registrars follow up over millions of companies on our register? So the only way is for you to come and notify the register. This is how my business is transacting. If I started with 1 million shillings, my company has thrived and grown to a tune of 10 million.
10 million.
I increased my capital. Some of the shareholders died, and these are the new ones. That is the information we want. If it is still the same, you can still notify the registrar that no information has changed on our record. It is still the same. It is called a liaison channel between me and your company.
The company. Okay. Maybe clarify something before we go into something else. Does annual returns based on the profits you make? If I'm earning 1 million, if I make 1 million, now I'm making 10, do I still file the same annual returns or they vary?
It is a standard.
It's standard.
50,000.
50,000.
Whether you've made a profit or not, it's 50,000.
Okay. Now, what are scenarios of companies that come in the image of being NGOs yet they're actually profit-making organizations?
Actually, NGOs make profit. I want to bring it to your notice that NGOs make profit. But the law provides, if they make a profit, they should plow back those profits into the objectives of the company. They are not supposed to invest for their own selfish interests. Because we've seen some profits after making churches. And some pastors, after making money, they go and build homes, houses. They do all kinds of selfish interest activities. But you're supposed to, that is why actually NGO Bureau is denying, it's recalling those permits from them.
Okay.
Yes. But they are supposed to furnish us with annual returns, whether they've made profit or not. And NGOs, they are receiving donor funds.
Donor funds.
Yes. Most of them are receiving donor funds from abroad. And they are enjoying that money in their own accord.
Very true.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that brings me now back to something here. There is something I've heard about beneficial ownership. And I believe any person, an entrepreneur would love to know, what is beneficial ownership? Shed us some light on that.
I think the issue of beneficial ownership also caused the halabalu about last year. I think it was beginning of this year, where we had queues of people line up so that they can file the beneficial ownership. Yes. But here we were tasked by the foreign body that we are supposed to know which people are on our register.
Okay.
Yes. We've seen people engage into money laundering. people go abroad to do out certain fishy activities. So right now, Uganda is on a grey list.
Actually, yeah. I saw that report.
Yes.
About, yeah.
If we transition to the red list, you will not be able to go out of the country with money. Okay. You will not be able to transact. Even if you using your debit card, it cannot work abroad. Okay. When we cross to the red line. Actually, even right now, they are restricting us. They are tightening the nuggets because we have failed to meet the credentials of being removed from the grey list. And why? Because people have failed to file the beneficial ownership. And the beneficial ownership is just Form 1. It just entails who the shareholders of the companies are, and the directors plus the secretary. Okay. It is called Form 1. As you're doing your data update, make sure it of course, it's part of the process of data update. It brings in a slot for the beneficial ownership form. This is the person who has the ultimate control of the business. The person who owns the business ultimately is the person we want to see on the beneficial ownership. Okay. Yes.
Why do you think it's necessary for people to take this up as of now? You mentioned about money laundering. You kind of related this to that. So why is it necessary, if we can make it as a strategy for this year 2023, for people to actually have this beneficial ownership form?
Actually, the strategy we've devised, you cannot do any other transaction. You cannot come to URSB to file a resolution obtaining maybe credit from the bank, or opening a bank account, or appointing directors without a beneficial ownership form. So it's the first requirement we want from you. If you file the beneficial ownership while doing data update, then you can be able to file your annual returns. You cannot file annual returns right now. Even when we restore your company, you're supposed to file the beneficial ownership form first before you file the annual returns that we are requiring from you after being struck off.
So once people embrace this, shall we, will it in some sort of a way reduce on the money laundering related aspects?
Yes, because the international body at large, the government will know who these particular people are. Sometimes these companies are a sham, and we do not know the people who are behind these particular companies. But with this beneficial ownership, of course, the target is to make sure that this validates the information which we already have on our record. Okay. If we have A, B, and C, is it still A, B, and C?
A, B, and C.
Yes. So it's for emphasis purposes that indeed we are emphasizing that these are the people, and please, as URSB, take it from us that these are still the owners and the shareholders of that particular company.
Okay, very interesting. Now maybe as we are winding this up, we can take a look at your collaboration with the Uganda Revenue Authority, in terms of trying to put up fair tax policies towards the different entrepreneurs. Do you in some sort of a way try to engage in the decision makings to enhance that, to make it light, make that arrangement light for them?
Of course, we are different entities with different mandates altogether.
But what you do affects operations of the other.
Of course, ours is to register formalize your business, and then you go to URA. I believe if we did that, we would be infringing on the mandate of URA. But URA has also come up with friendly policies on how to reduce taxes for the common man. I think they've developed different strategies, and their drive is also very high to sensitize the public on how you can furnish them with annual returns, on how you can keep your company records clean, so that the taxman does not come after you. I know it's being seen as a beast, and actually URSB cannot be de-associated from URA.
From URA, definitely. Okay, I believe collaboration. Okay, I know they're different entities, but for any country to develop, once the different bodies that are governing, most especially with areas to do with money, I mean, have a certain understanding in terms of formulating frameworks and policies and even influencing laws, governing business and so many that we can make Uganda easy for any person to live by.
Yeah, what we've really done is to do ease of doing business in Uganda, where there is a collaboration of TRIP, the Taxpayers Expansion Program, where we are in collaboration with URA, with KCCA, with URSB, to make sure that all these bodies are intertwined. Actually, most of the time we move door to door. We have our door-to-door services right now. We are reaching to the common man and telling them, you know what, when you register your company, this taxman will be able to issue with a TIN number, then KCCA will be able to issue with a trading license there and then instantly without you walking to their offices. That is why we've developed TRIP centers countrywide. We have TRIP centers in Gulu, in Kabale, in Kasese, in Chisoro, worldwide. Countrywide. We have TRIP centers everywhere. We have regional offices as URSB. We have now Service Uganda centers where we are merging with Ministry of Public Service. Yes.
That's incredible.
And we have now an office in Hoima, a Service Uganda center, where you'll be able to find all those entities that have been operating in silos in one space and able to serve Ugandans so that we can ease doing of business and create a convenient environment, an eco-friendly business environment for Ugandans.
Wow, very interesting. Maybe as we wind this up, any final remarks to the entrepreneurs out there and those that are aspiring to really start up a business? Your last remarks for them?
Yes, since the subject matter has rotated around
deregistration
and striking of companies, I want to emphasize that there is still hope for those companies that have been struck off. It is very easy. Just apply to the registrar of companies, notifying them that you want your company to be restored onto back the register. The formalized letter will only apply after you paid 20,000 shillings. Furnish us proof of evidence of the receipts of the years that we are demanding from you. For example, if a company has not filed annual returns for 10 years, furnish us information of annual returns of a period of 10 years. Thereafter, the Registrar of Companies will be able to restore your company back onto the register within a period of 2 days.
2 days?
Yes.
Maybe just a little...
as easy as that.
Okay, maybe, is there a restoration fee?
20,000 shillings.
20,000
yes.
Ugandan shillings. Wow. Well said, well said. 20,000 shillings, you get back on the URSB register and you start transacting businesses with ease. And you can be able to bid for bigger contracts, get government business, and so many of those related aspects. Well, we come to the end of the show. That is the Policon, and thank you for all the way we started from. And my guest today has been Rachel Kamsime, Registration Officer. That is Business Directorate in the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. And I hope this information has been quite very key for you when it comes to making the appropriate decision. Business registration, intellectual property, copyright, and all that. URSB is really enforcing many of these aspects. So you should trust the body that is to make sure that, you have the best of the best when it comes to running your business. Well, have yourselves a very wonderful evening, and we meet next time.
Smart 24, driving business.